going to make some compote today. The word goes back to medieval England, probably earlier than that. It's a French word meaning blend or mixture, but it's and probably goes to the Middle East because it was made with dried fruits of various kinds. And we all know fruit becomes ripe at a certain point and the sweetest, and then it goes downhill rapidly from there. They pick it when at peak sweetness and dry it in the hot sun, and that's the way they preserve it. And then you either have to chew on it a while or cook it. So I'm going to make some compote. It used to be every time you went into a restaurant several hundred years ago and ordered breakfast, there would be a little spoonful of compote on the side of the plate as a sort of a little treat to the brown bread that they had then and things like that. But it's easy to make, and the cost of dried fruit has gone up considerably, but it doesn't take much of it to make enough to last several weeks. It starts off with I'm going to make about a pound of dried fruit. Starts off with a half cup of sugar, two-thirds cup of water, and a squirt of lemon juice. Needs a little acid in it. Lemon zest also works well in there. And stir that up. It won't dissolve immediately, but it'll start. I guess I ought to turn the burner on. Got it on medium there. Now I've got dried apricots here. You can use peaches, anything like that. Doesn't work well with things like bananas or anything of that sort. Apples fairly well. And I have cranberries. And dates. And raisins. And since the basis of it will be the apricots, I'll put them in first. I believe this is a 1 pound package here that I have. Got them at Sprouts. You used to get them there in bulk, but since the virus is around, well, they don't sell anything in bulk like that anymore, and everything has to be packaged, they said. Oh yeah, on the bottom of that I want to put a cinnamon stick. It won't stay in there, it just flavors it and will be taken out at some point. Throw that down in there. boxes, it'd be 2 or 3 little boxes, but big box, it's just eyeball it. There's no fixed amount. Well, I won't use them all, but and the dried cranberries. I'd say a quarter of a pound of them, which would be a half a pint, or a cup if you want to put it that way in measurements. And just put them in there and stir them around. And now the dates. As I said, you can use anything you want or whatever you have. In the way of dried fruit, it all works the same. This is an 8-ounce package. Get it open here to where I can get some out. It was really sealed. There we go. These are chopped dates here. A couple ounces of that. Main thing, you just size of your pan controls how much you make. So I'm going to put a lid on that, leave the burner down low, and just let it sit there and simmer. Well, it just started to simmer, so now what I'll do is add enough water to just cover it. And I forgot to mention, anytime you use sugar, you need to use a little salt. The two just seem to go together. Now put the lid on and just let it sit there and get happy. Well, this is cooked for about 45 minutes, very slow simmer. The juice is beginning to take a little bitey, so I'm going to turn it out and let it cool and put it up in containers. First, I'm going to take a little taste of it. That's pretty good stuff. It'll go on toast great in the morning, or just a bite of it along with most anything else. Okay, this is the next morning. I'm making my breakfast here. Put my warmed plate over here to put it together. Some hash browns here. And I'll fix my egg. The sausage is hot. Put cheese on top of that. My toast is made. It almost ran away with itself. Put a lid on this for a second. Check the egg. Oh yeah. Perfect. Just the way I wanted it. Put it here on top of this. Get rid of the skillet. Salt and pepper. And set my toast up like this over here and put some of my compote on there. I'd like a little bit more than that. Another apricot here on top of it. There. Now that goes to the table, and I'll have my breakfast there with my coffee and try that out. There it is on the table. Check this egg out here. Well, it got a little bit doner than over easy, but it'll do. You can't go wrong. Take that out. Now I'm going to try out my compote. just use a dried apricot first. That just makes breakfast. So I'm going to finish my breakfast and then I'm going to tell you a story. Now to my story. It was the late 1950s and Sears was king of the world. They were the big dog in retail sales. If Sears didn't have it, you probably didn't need it. They had more stores than any other company. They had more employees than any other company. They had more stuff in their catalog than any other company. And they were riding high. But of course they had to keep up their image. So when Christmas got there, they had to go a little bit past the others on their Santa Claus. He had to be more authentic looking and everything like that, and the kids to sit in his lap and tell him what they wanted. And so they hired this professional Santa Claus from Dallas. He weighed about 400 pounds, stood about 6'2", something like that. He was probably in his 70s. He had snow white beard and snow white hair, and he had his authentic suit and black leather boots, and he was the real thing. No telling how much they had to pay him to get him up there. But anyway, they were advertising the arrival of Santa Claus on a Saturday morning. They always, in the Friday night paper, they had double trucks advertising the sales for the weekend and things like that. And they had a picture of him getting out of the door of a TWA DC-3 airliner. But once they got up there and they had devised a way that they were going to have him fly in and land on the parking lot. They had a good-sized parking lot there, and they were going to fence it off, and they'd worked with a guy with an airplane, and he said, yeah, I can land on that, and no problem. So Saturday morning came. They looked around. Here came the airplane, and it was a little air coupe, and the pilots called them air coops. They were low wing, sort of open cockpit. You roll or shove the windows down on each side, and it was an open cockpit with just your windshield in front of you, and it hauled 2 people, and it was kind of skimpy on size anyway at best. But anyway, Santa Claus was in it. They came in, and everybody was lined up on the parking lots, and the parking lot was full of cars except for the runway, and he circled over them, and Santa Claus threw candy over the side, and everybody cheered and everything, and they landed and rolled up there in front of where they were going to unload Santa Claus, and everybody ganged around there where he was to get out of the airplane, but he didn't show up. And finally says, somebody yells, Santa Claus is stuck in the airplane, can't get out. Well, if you look at this picture of the cockpit of one of them, you can see why. It's a tiny little thing, and when you get in, your feet go out straight out in front of you, and you take a guy as old as he was, and I've been and am now, the only way you're going to get up from a seated position is get your feet under you where you can use your legs to push yourself up. Well, with his feet out front, he couldn't get any pressure. So they tried to get him out, and they got some big Hulk guys out there tried to lift him out, and they were up on the airplane, and it just turned into a comedy of errors out there in the parking lot. And finally the crowd all started laughing and either went in the store or left. And finally they had to resort to the fire department and a wrecker to get him out. Well, the poor old man by that time, he was so beat up that he didn't want any part of sitting in there and letting kids pee in his lap, so he disappeared. I don't know, he wasn't our Santa Claus that year. They beat that airplane up so badly in the process of extracting Santa Claus from it that they decided it wasn't flyable, and the last time I saw it, it was parked down by the back of the auto repair shop there. Waiting to have the wings taken off, and they put it on the truck and hauled it away. I don't know if it is ever repaired or just scrapped, because there was people standing on top of the wings, and where there wasn't any reinforcing for a walkway or anything like that, and it got pretty rough treatment. No telling what that Santa Claus fiasco cost Sears. But at any rate, that's my story about how Santa Claus disappeared at Sears. So God bless America, God bless Texas, and you folks have a great weekend and a happy year. Bye.